Hey everyone, this is Derrick Bros of the Conscious Resistance Network. I just wanted to give you a post-flotation tank wrap up. So a couple days ago I had my first experience in a flotation tank, sensory deprivation tank, isolation tank. They're known by a couple different names. And essentially this was a big bubble that I climbed into that was filled with Epsom salt water, and it's got enough salt in it that it allows you to be buoyant so that you float, and it's also set at the temperature that is exactly to what your skin temperature is, so that after a period of time within the tank you lose the perception of where your body begins and where the water begins, and so it's all just kind of one floating experience. And the whole idea behind this is basically that you're supposed to be able to clear away some of the thoughts. It's definitely a form of meditation. If you follow my work, you know that I'm very big and interested in meditation, and so this was something that I've read about and written about for quite a while, and its ability to help PTSD, anxiety victims, depression, and things like that. And really, I feel like it's another positive step in line with drumming meditation, zazen, Zen meditation, other forms of meditation that allow you to access parts of your mind that are not typically available to the everyday waking conscious mind. Now, this is just information that you might not be privy to while you're stuck in that mindset of just 9 to 5 living in the physical world. So it's important to stop and to take moments to have self-reflection and to go within yourself and to see what type of issues and traumas and things that you can work on, because I believe that we all have various doubts, insecurities, fears, and traumas that we have picked up along our way in life, and those shape the way we view the world and shape the way we view ourselves, and it's important for us to analyze those things to heal from them. So that is the mindset I went into for this flotation tank session. I definitely have some things coming up in my recent self-reflection that I'm dealing with and working through, and I was excited to kind of take some of those things on and bring that into this experience. So I floated for about an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's typically about an hour to an hour and a half, and as I said, I came in. It's a pitch black room. You climb into the little bubble filled with water. You shut the lid over you, and you're in pitch blackness. I think there's a little light you can hit if you want some red light in there. But I chose to be in complete darkness, and for the first few minutes there's some relaxing music, and then that fades away, and then you're just in there with your own mind, your own body, in the water, floating. And it's just, I try to do various relaxation exercises, and just when I'm laying down in bed before I go to sleep, reflect on my whole day, and then also from head to toe, or from toe to head, start becoming conscious and sending my consciousness to each part of my body. So for example, my feet, my toes, my ankles, my legs, and do all that, working my way up to my head and my neck until I have just this sense of just complete relaxation. And it's a really beautiful thing to do. So I went into this experience with that in mind, that I was just going to go in there and lay down. Of course, you have that static, that frontal lobe activity that comes in, and sometimes makes it difficult to get past that stage, and you're laying there like, oh, I've had people tell me this about meditation, like, I don't know how to meditate, my brain keeps thinking of things, and I sort of had that experience. But I'm going to do another video separate from this that is what is meditation and how to meditate, because I've had so many questions on people interested in that, and I'm by no means an expert on those topics, but I've been meditating inconsistently for the last 10 years and studying Zen Buddhism and going to Zen master talks and things like that, and picking up things along the way. So I feel like I have a few things to say. So I went into this experience with some understanding of meditation and taking myself into that mindset, because as you'll find with various meditative practices, that it's like creating a new path for your brain to walk on. It's just like once you go in, your brain goes onto those pathways, it becomes easier to access them, and so it's just like putting on a glove, or however you want to think about it. It's like riding a horse, you never forget, or riding a bike, whatever, right? So it's just about getting comfortable with yourself and being able to access those parts of your mind. Now, it's okay when you go in there to have the static thoughts, and maybe if the thoughts that keep coming to your mind are things that you need to process, and this tank, being alone in there with nothing else to worry about, it gives you the space to reflect on things that you might not typically have. Also, though, as I mentioned, like the separation between mind and body and the water, it allows for some amazing opportunities for, different parts of your brain to start working. When your brain doesn't have to worry all the time about physical things and how to respond to the physical world, but you're simply just laying and floating in this atmosphere that has very little separation between the physical world and, the ethereal world, because I do think you kind of go in between these states. It becomes easier to go through these issues and to work on them and to find that mind space. So I found myself about, the music came on, I was getting real relaxed, just floating, laying back. I couldn't really tell if my head was tilted too low or if I was relaxed, floating perfectly. But after 10 to 15 minutes or so, I really, and these experiences, with my experience with ayahuasca, with meditation, with sitting meditation, and with drumming meditation, and some other things I've been through, my mind is very easy to go in between this conscious state here and then the other place. I have no problem going in between those worlds. And I tend to lose perception of time, and that's what happened is after a period of however long, I was just, staring into the blackness and relaxing. I wasn't asleep. I was just, completely letting go of this physical realm in my body and just letting myself be. And it was a beautiful experience. At one point, I'm looking up into the blackness and I felt like it was just like raining down on me, like from, the heavens, from the sky. And I got a couple of messages and things that came in there that, I'll share with you guys. One of them was that I saw a vision of a crystal bowl, a crystal Tibetan singing bowls. There's different names for them, but, the little... And I've played with them and I've used them for music before, but I've never owned my own. And someone told me, you need to get one. You need to get your own, and you need to play on it, and you need to use it. So I'm going to do that very soon. Another thing was just a couple days before, I had a short journey with mushrooms, with psilocybin mushrooms, and before that experience, what led me to taking those mushrooms is some information. Just through a conversation with a friend, all of a sudden I started discussing things with my father that I hadn't thought about in a while. And again, this is the important part of this. We don't always think that, that there's anything bothering us. We seem completely okay in our everyday waking state. But there are a lot of issues, and I know for me, and I think in my experience from talking with others, this seems to be true for many people, is that there are things that lie beneath the surface that we need to deal with. And that's what this was about for me. So I had this conversation where all of a sudden I started discussing my dad, and I haven't really talked about him in a while or thought about him too much. And the situation surrounding that, which is, we can get into that another time. But it just flooded me, and I told my friend, I said, thank you for listening to me. I don't really know where that came, but I needed to talk about it. And then I took the mushrooms, and then so after that, like a couple of days of reflection, I felt like this flotation tank experience came at the perfect time. And I was really trying to reflect on those thoughts, but nothing specific about my dad or that relationship came during my experience. It was more just some needed peace, some necessary peace that I've been needing. I find myself in a constant state of meditation, really, whether I'm sitting down in meditation or meditating the sun or doing yoga or whatever. It just becomes more of a state of mind that you're constantly in, and that's what I've been working on more and more, just maintaining that state of mind while I'm busying myself with all this physical world work. And I was very thankful for the experience. In the end, before I knew it, all of a sudden the music was coming back on, which signaled that it was almost over. And I'm like, wow, is it already been an hour? And it had been over an hour, really. But I'm definitely looking forward to going back. I'm going to have another session in 2 weeks. And I really want to thank Michelle at Float Houston. If you guys are in Houston, check her out. Check them out. Schedule an appointment. You will not be disappointed. And as she advised me that, this is something that if you make it a regular practice, just like with any meditation or anything, it becomes easier for your mind to go into that state. So the first time you might spend half the time thinking and, processing your thoughts, and then you get to a state of relaxation and you have some deeper level stuff. But I really do think it's a consistent practice that you need to apply in order to really get the full benefits of it. So I plan to do that as much as possible. And also, Michelle let me borrow this awesome book that you can see here. It's the book of Floating, Exploring the Private Sea by Michael Hutchison, and it looks pretty awesome. This picture right here, if you can see, it says that this was drawn by a shaman, an artist who was describing the vision they had while they were floating in John C. Lilly's tank. John C. Lilly, of course, wrote Into the Cyclone, which was the book that became the basis for the movie Altered States, and he spent quite a bit of time first inventing these tanks and then exploring them under the influence of LSD and all kinds of conditions, and really just trying to explore the inner depths and realms of his mind. And that's a huge inspiration for me, and I hope you guys will choose to look more into flotation tanks and meditation in general. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe to this channel. Check out theconsciousresistance.com. And as always, if you can hear this, you are the resistance. Peace.